Like one thing is be clear on what is being done to the expensive items, the roof, the furnace, the hot water tank, whatever it is in your market. Kind of start top down. This
Yeah.
way you're at least understanding how those are being addressed. And number two, like pictures don't tell everything.
Hello, you're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone, to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Brandon Elliott. Today, I'm super stoked for this one. I met Josh just about a week ago at another real estate, business kind of mastermind in Dallas. And oh man, this guy is just ridiculously inspiring. You know, just talking to him for the first few minutes, 24 years old, started investing in real estate just a few years ago, based out of Ohio, doing over as an agent, started still doing agent things, and per year is doing about 200 transactions per year, buying and selling for helping other people. With that being said, he also has over 200 doors himself. He also last year did about 40 fix and flips in his market, and this year he's looking to crank it up to about 70, 80. So it's just to say like remarkable type of story, and to see like the inspiration behind it, it's an understatement. It's very motivating to see just like the leaps and bounds of like, I don't know where you get all the damn time, honestly, but we'll talk a little bit about that today as well. So Josh, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well today, brother. Appreciate you jumping on.
Thank you. Yeah. Got the sun out in Cleveland, Ohio. It's pretty rare, so I'll take it.
Yeah. So Josh, anybody out there that doesn't know who you are, where you're from, your background, do you mind giving the listeners like that 30,000 foot view?
Yeah. I basically was studying computer science in college 4 years ago at The Ohio State University. You know, knew that I was going to have a decent income at some point and wanted to live on as cheap as I could and use the rest to do something. And, you know, I kind of stumbled across real estate, stumbled across the idea of house hacking. Then I found a realtor on Bigger Pockets in my market in Columbus, Ohio at the time, and went into the dude's office, and it was like 20 guys cold calling. It looked like the Boiler Room movie set up, you know, desks stacked on top of each other, people just calling, banging the phones. And I learned that all these guys owned homes, multiple, under the age of 20 or under the age of 25 or 30. And I was like, man, how am I ever going to get to that point doing the job that I was going to do?
Yeah.
So I kind of just started to invest my time into it, started cold call to find deals, you know, save my money, bought a few, fix and flip a few, and kind of like grew it into what it is today. But that's sort of how it started.
I love it, man. Talk to me about, so obviously that's the inspiration that you found to get you going, but why even real estate? How did you start looking at Bigger Pockets? Did you have somebody in your family or friends or somebody that gave you that motivation?
I've always kind of like run small businesses, you know, in high school and before and during college. So I had money saved and I just wanted to figure out what to do with it, really. And I was just Googling, like, how can I compound the money that I have?
I love it.
And
What were you doing in high school?
I started to fix duct tape wallets in grade school, sold Mad Mobile coins, sold a ton of shoes. I probably resold a few hundred shoes. Yeah, those are the three big ones.
That's cool, man. So nobody in your family, no other people you knew at the time that were doing real estate?
Nope. My uncle did it 20 years ago and
Yeah.
sold everything because he hated it. My dad won't ever touch it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love it. Okay, so you got inspired by basically this boiler room of all these guys and young guys actually putting in work, but also getting deals themselves. Talk to me. What did that look like afterwards? Did you were banging out some calls as well, getting the reps in, starting to learn that process? You were also doing like DoorDash previously. So, you know, where was that transition?
Yeah, I was basically doing school and DoorDash. Then I went to the office. I was like, hey, how can I get involved? And they're like, well, you can learn how to find deals. We'll give you a list of people that own duplexes in the neighborhood that you live in. Just call everyone, see how they got the home. Hey, sir, how'd you get to this property? I'm new into real estate. I don't know anything. What can you teach me? And people are always, especially if you give older investors attention, they usually enjoy that. And that's kind of how the process started. And then as soon as I started to find deals, I would bring that to the agent I was working under. He would sell it. I'd make a marketing fee. Then once those marketing fees started to make more than when I was making monthly door dashing, then I stopped door dashing and eventually switched over to just calling when that was making more than what I would have made, being a software engineer.
I love it. What was the time frame involved in some of these things before? Because it sounds like you did it really smart, honestly. You still had 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and you were doing it at the same time just to make sure like you're not fully giving up on this until the other thing pays off and makes more than the other one.
Yeah, it was just step-by-step process. So I started in like August 2021, maybe. Forget the year. And started cold calling heavily from November through January, February. My first 11 deals fell out. It was brutal. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And then basically my next 10 deals closed pretty quickly. So it was like a pretty violent shift in terms of the outcome.
Okay. And then how long were you working with the cold calling crew?
Yeah, I basically full-time cold called through, February-ish. Then I got my real estate license and started to represent the buyers because I was also posting on Bigger Pockets all these things that I was learning at that time in the Columbus market, and people were like, "Hey, it looks like he knows what he's doing." I was like, "I got off market deals. You want me to add you to my email list?" And then started to make those connections, got my real estate license, and started to broker them.
Nice. I love it. So were you just thinking about getting the real estate license just for the simple fact of having another touch point on it where you could make some money?
Basically, the mentor that I had at the time used his real estate license / business as a funnel to build for his own investing, whether that's A, building up deal sources, calling other agents, wholesalers, etc., and B, using the money that you make as a realtor to then go invest. So I was like, all just do the same thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. So you got your license, you started, and you were posting daily on Bigger Pockets as well, kind of building your brand there, getting some recognition, building out your list, starting to double end things and making some money. When did you actually take down some of your first deals?
As an investor, right?
As an investor, yep.
Yeah. So June is when I bought my first duplex. It was a BRRRR deal.
Yeah.
And I spent about twice as much on the rehab as I should have because the first guy was bad and lied to me. And you know how the stories go.
Yeah.
And then bought a package of 3 about 2 months later. That one went a little better. And then those guys kind of fell apart and found more crews. And, I was buying about 1 every month-ish for a bit before I started to scale up.
And you were using, like, what was the type of financing or money down that you needed to get some of these deals? Were you just using the money that you were making from wholesaling and as an agent to be able to cover that?
I was just using hard money. So they'll lend 70% of the ARV, 90% of project costs. So I was putting roughly 10, 15-ish% down, and then they would finance all the renovation costs. So it wasn't that much at my price points, 10, 15K down.
Cool. Okay. And so was that just money saved up or it was your active business that you were doing on, basically just the real estate agent side and so forth, cold calling as well?
I guess it would be like a combination of both, really. Yeah. Once I started to buy more, then it was the money that I was making through my real estate business.
Cool. I love it. I remember my very first real estate deal. It was over in Ohio and I got it super discounted in the hood. It was $9,000 property. I had to put $35,000 into it. And I got screwed over on 5 different contractors. It took a full year when it should have took like 60 days, And so it was a lot of learning curves, but it was exactly what I needed. Luckily, I bought a triplex 2 months to the day after that first one that actually kind of kept me afloat and didn't have me pulling out the rest of my hair. So it ended up working out, but cool. So you started just getting some momentum here. Were you were renting out all of these properties? You were doing basically the BRRRR strategy on everything, correct? For the most part?
Yeah, I did the BRRRR strategy on the first 10 deals.
Cool. Okay. And then so at the end of the day, were you getting cash out from them or just getting your money back?
It kind of ranges between maybe pulling 10, 20K out to leaving 5, 10K in. Just depends on the asset and the LTV that I was taking.
Cool. I love it. And then still at the time, there were some decent rates, which is good. And so you were just kind of stacking up a lot of these. When do you think you got the momentum that it just started, you started buying a lot more properties versus just one per month?
Yeah, the beginning of that year is when I, at the time, thought I had, two really solid contracting crews because they were doing decent with the other jobs. So I bought, 5 deals January, 5 deals February. And then, the whole system kind of fell apart again. I had to regroup and find new contractors, but I just kept buying because I was like, the equity, I have equity, I could sell it. I'm eventually going to find reliable contractors. There's people everywhere that renovate houses. I can figure this out.
Yeah.
And I happen to have a high income selling homes. So I could basically I could wade the storm.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it. What were some of the learning curves with these contractors? Like what would you tell somebody brand new that you walked through and you didn't see at the time, but maybe there might have been some signs now with the education that you do know looking back?
Like one thing is be clear on what is being done to the expensive items, the roof, the furnace, the hot water tank, whatever it is in your market. Kind of start top down. This way you're at least understanding how those are being addressed. And number 2, like pictures don't tell everything. Cause I was getting, sometimes getting pictures where they would lay, 20% of the flooring and everything else is not floored behind them. And they'd take an angle so it looks like everything's done. That I'd send a bunch of money. Then they'd go on to the next house and they just go steal. So like you got to have somebody boots on the ground that knows what good work looks like to be in your back pocket.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's good. Yeah. So were all these pretty close to you locally or? Okay.
So at the time I was living in Columbus, buying in Cleveland, which is 2 hours away. I'm from Cleveland. So that's where I live now. But I was buying everything sight unseen. I had a contractor walk and give me a bid, but I barely drove to the properties at all. I wanted to build a remote business, which this is still how it operates today, even though I live here.
I love it. I love it. So talk to me about systemizing this thing, because I just feel like you're doing a lot. And I don't know how you feel about that, but do you feel like you're doing a lot?
In December, I did.
Yeah.
In November, because I went from like doing 5, 10 deals a month to 15 to 20, and I felt that difference.
Yeah.
As an investor.
Yeah.
Now I kind of systemized it all out, and it doesn't feel like I'm doing as much anymore.
Yeah.
But again, I go ahead.
Oh no, you can finish.
No, I think the way that you feel really depends on how much stuff do you have to do every day to make sure things don't get worse.
Yeah.
Like for example, like the refinance process, right? Sending documents to the title company, to the lender, confirming a rate, scheduling the appraisal, reviewing the title commitment. These are all things that are the exact same that happen over and over again. So if you can write out a process and train a VA to do it, or whoever, an in-person assistant or AI, probably, if you're good with that stuff, like you don't need to do it. So like every time I run into something where it's repeatable, I have like this, I've literally gone through like 10 of these notebooks, writing down little things and trying to never do it again.
I love that. I was going to say, it sounds like you've systemized a lot of the processes to be able to do what you're doing today. Otherwise, I just don't see how it would be possible for somebody to still be able to do 200 transactions as an agent per year. That's a lot just by itself. In addition to doing, 40 plus flips a year, in addition to dealing with the contractors and owning over 200 doors yourself. It's just like, how do you do all this? You have to build systems and processes in between. And I believe you're only working with 2 VAs as well. Is that correct? Or is there more?
Yeah. I have a third now working 30 hours a week, but I could run it without her probably. She just makes everything easier. But I basically have 3 funnels in the business. Either when a property comes in, I'm either going to sell it to a client. When a property comes in, I'm either going to buy it and rent it, or when a property comes in, I'm either going to buy it and flip it. So I try to keep everything simple and build all the lines that make sense for any of those strategies and try not to do anything twice. So,
I love
and
that.
like as you get going in this process, you're gonna be like, man, there's a lot of stuff that I'm doing that I don't need to do.
Yeah. How quickly did you start building out these processes?
Pretty quickly. Like the
Yeah.
thing that opened my eye was so like writing an offer. So I've literally never written an offer. Now
Really?
I review the offers written before I send to the client, which is what I'm required to do as a realtor.
Sure.
But physically printing it out, writing it all in, I don't do that. So like my mentor at the time was like, yeah, it takes, 30 minutes to write an offer if you're new at it. Train a VA to do it. If you write 5 offers a day, which is pretty common between, if you're an active investor and a realtor at the same time, like that's
Yeah.
2.5 hours. That's 10 hours a week.
Yeah.
It's almost a part-time job you just saved from one process. Right. So I was like, this is insane. Let me go and make 100 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you build out a process for that. And then what are some of the other jobs that your VAs are doing?
So like on the realtor side, I have an intro call with the buyer, and then I basically have like a 8 characteristic type buy box that I categorize them in, and they'll send the deals out to them via email, via text. They'll follow up with them. They'll make sure that they get pre-approved with the lender. They will get their price point figured out. They'll engage with them to see if they're running numbers, if they understand things like that. Kind of the whole marketing point of the deal flow. And then once we get them a contract, they'll send all the documents to the lender, they'll schedule the appraisal, they'll deal with the title, insurance, all that stuff. And I'm basically here to review your inspection report, to answer any questions that require my input, what you think from me. And that's really it.
I love it. So that saves you a ton of time. And obviously you have to be the face. You have to, keep the reputation and so forth. They're buying into you. So you start that way, and then you handle any, needed conversations throughout the process. But everything else, that can all be systemized and automated through VAs, which I love. What about the investing side of things?
Yeah, like the investing style, when a deal comes in, I look at the pictures for 2 minutes. I buy in the same radius, so I know prices with square footage and stuff. And
Yep.
if the pictures look decent, or if it's an address and a price, great. I have a system. It's called new Josh buy procedure. My VAs basically put the pictures in a folder labeled before. They get the auditor information. They put it all together. They put comps, rec comps, sales comps, and they schedule my contractor to go walk it. They send my contractor the initial bid that I'm hoping to spend on the home. After he sees it, he reviews it, calls me. Now, when he hop on a call, I already have the pictures, the address, comps, scope of work. And then maybe my contractor's like, hey, we got to replace the roof. You didn't really realize that in the pictures. So it's a pretty quick phone call. Then, once that call is done, if I want to pursue it, great. I literally am like, hey, write the offer, like send it to me to sign. So I literally sign the offer, they send it in, they follow up, get it signed, send it to the lender, send it to the company, schedule the appraisal. And then the next thing I do personally is just sign when the notary comes and sits right there. That's it.
You like made a beautiful little seat for them and everything. Like, this is
he's literally there
often.
3 days a week.
I love it. That is so, man. You got to just start making it like a little homey area for them.
I know I should.
Get a coffee mug. That's awesome. So when it comes down to viewing the homes, you're really not walking any of these properties.
I've never seen anything that I've not owned. Like I've already owned it before I've seen it. And I've only probably seen 40% of the homes I've ever bought.
Yeah. Wow. So you're basing it just off the numbers. And then trust with the contractors. Have you considered, obviously it's been successful thus far, but have you considered like getting boots on ground to do the walkthrough and put that part of your SOP?
Well, now I have a bigger infrastructure now. So I have like a project manager who walks things, and then he delegates it down to one of 5 general contractors who then have a whole bunch of subs. And then I have like 3 full-time maintenance people. So it's like 60 full-time people in the whole process.
Yeah.
So I have that established now.
Yeah, that's awesome. How long has that been in place?
It keeps evolving, but the current state, like 4 months, maybe.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Excited to see what that does in the longevity. It's probably going to be very just amazing in so many ways as you're leading them and guiding them, just to make your life that much easier. So as far as lending, situations? Again, it's typical same type of documents and paperwork. So are you typically just using the same lender over and over, or what does that look like for you?
So I just checked. I have 39 hard money loans right now active.
Yeah.
So there's barely any lenders that'll give one person that many.
Yeah.
You can get like 5 to 10.
Yep.
So I basically cycle between like 5 to 6 lenders, and then when something sells or refis, I just plug another one in there. Yeah.
Are you getting potentially better rates than the average guy because you are doing so many?
I mean, a little better, like
Nothing crazy.
nothing crazy. It's still over 10%. It's still a point or two.
Yeah. Okay. And then some of the purchase prices on these, what does that look like as well as the renovation costs?
So normally 70 to 120K purchase and 35 to 150K reno. Most of them are like 35 to 70. And ARVs are like 140 to 250. And then a couple that have been more. But it's like this. It's like the same house every time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
literally, it's the same stinking house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Cool. And then as far as property management goes, who's doing that? What does that look like?
So I was using a big firm in the beginning, using somebody at a big firm, and then they didn't like their position. So I was like, hey, let me get a bunch of units and let's go start our own thing.
Yeah.
So that's basically what we did. So now it's in-house.
Okay. Cool. And so it's just one person basically handling all of those, or?
Yeah, one person with their 2 assistants.
Yep.
And then my whole infrastructure I pointed out earlier, they do all the turns and maintenance.
I love it. I love it. And then I assume you have somebody handling all the bookkeeping and tax filings all separately, or what is that like?
Yeah. And
That
it's
makes
constantly
sense.
behind.
Yeah, it's constantly behind. Yes.
Do you experience the same thing?
Yeah. I think it's a typical situation.
Yeah.
There are some good companies out there that are starting to get more on our radar, which is good. But yeah, I'm just kind of curious, like how do you deal with bookkeeping and so forth?
I mean, it used to be a panic attack every Saturday because I'd be like, I got to spend 90 grand this week. Where is it?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
So now I just track like how much money's going to come in from refinances, how much is going to come in from sales.
Yeah.
As a realtor, sales as a flipper, and then what money am I spending on down payments? I don't really buy anything else. So it's literally, I rent, I don't own a house. So it's just like 3 inputs, 1 output.
Yeah. So you're still renting versus actually owning a house. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, like I'd rent cheap where I'm at for what you can get.
Yeah.
So you can get like a really solid house for like $1,200, $1,500 that would cost you almost double with a mortgage and maintenance. So I'm just like, why would I'm just going to stick here.
Yeah, that's so smart, dude. And so all of this, it's very business numbers, the numbers don't lie, make data-driven decisions. Are you tracking KPIs and so forth, or have you really started implementing that stuff yet? It sounds like the SOPs are on point, brother. You have the systems and processes in place. KPIs is something that a lot of people in the beginning kind of neglects, but I don't know. I'm curious.
Yeah, that's actually the biggest thing that I took away from the boardroom that we just were at is I'll need to do that. I basically track my hourly wage. So I reflect constantly what am I making per hour, and I look at everything I'm doing and I'm like, all right, that's too little. I have to delegate this.
So good.
That's my form of a KPI, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's awesome though. It's so awesome that you're even talking about that. So many people sleep on that and they don't realize like what are you truly, not to say like worth, because like human worth is different. Like, we're all worth a lot, but at the end of the day, what are you financially worth on an hourly basis? And if you're doing some yard work or something stupid that can be outsourced by somebody that actually loves doing that, in addition, is probably way better than you or I doing that, then it's like, why not just outsource that so you can go back to what you enjoy and what you're really good at and how to get those numbers, even higher for you. So I love
you got to do it in your personal life too. Like my girlfriend makes fun of me because my fridge is empty. I haven't cooked anything for 4 years or 3 years because I was like, I'm gonna. It's too much time. I don't go to the grocery store. I haven't been in a Target or anything like that forever. Like, and it's not because I'm this big important person. It's just like you look at the money in and the money out, and you just try to be as rational as you can be.
I love that. So what do you do? Like, how does life look like when you're systemizing that? What are you doing for food? Do you just order at?
I eat the same thing for breakfast, the same thing for lunch every single day, and then I order dinner or go out to dinner with people that I try to learn from.
I love that.
So,
So you're
um,
networking at night for dinner, typically. What is the same thing for breakfast and lunch every day?
it's just like an easy egg thing that I warm up, and then at lunch I make like a burger and chicken and like fruit and some vegetables, but like really quick stuff that doesn't take long at all. I'm doing it on a call or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. And I do like the notebook concept. I do the same thing in my personal life. Like I look at, I don't know, schedule like ordering random things on Amazon. If I can just put everything on subscriptions and never go on Amazon, that saves me 4 hours a month,
Yep.
50 hours a year, 50, even at $100 an hour, that's, $500 you just saved.
Man, that's so good.
$5,000 you just saved. It's bad math.
No, it's good, man. I'm soaking it up. I love this. I think what I'm learning from this the most is to really acknowledge where your time is going. Time management is something that most of us sleep on, and it holds us back from being able to grow and scale. And so when you start, first off, identifying it and writing it out, like, where is all my time going? And afterwards start acknowledging, like, what could I actually outsource from this? You could probably outsource a hell of a lot, Yeah. And so just systemizing all that. What about like clothes and like laundry, all that stuff?
So like you probably can figure that out. I have 5 pairs of this shirt,
Yeah,
5 sets of this shirt, and I have 4 other colorways. It's the same shirt,
yeah.
same pants, same. I don't want to make decisions. I don't want to waste time on things like that. One other principle too, I've been scheduling every hour of my, that's going forward. I got to go backwards. I've been scheduling every hour of my day
That's so good.
for 5 years, and I check it weekly and daily, and I analyze yeah.
Wow. Okay. So what is the process with that? You're looking at it every hour to see what.
Wait, yeah, what am I supposed to do? And at the end of the day, sometimes things take longer than they should. So I make the adjustments to make sure that at the end of each day, it's accurate. So then on Saturday mornings, I can look at my week. How much did I work? How many things did I put in contract? Whatever. Did I see my family enough?
Yeah.
Did I see my girlfriend enough? Did I go to the gym as much as I'm supposed to do? Like, I check everything to make sure I'm online with what I'm trying to do, not just making money. It's the whole scope of life.
Yeah. So the full balance of life, you are critiquing on a weekly basis, basically your KPIs.
Yeah,
That
I guess so.
That is your KPIs that you're tracking. You could probably, after boardroom, start getting a VA to simplify that a little bit for you so that you can verify, is it up to par or not, and save you some more time. But
There we go.
But I love it. You've been doing that for 4 years.
Yeah.
Let's go, man. So what would you recommend to somebody that isn't the best at time management and they are desperately trying to figure out how to prioritize that properly?
I don't overwhelm yourself.
Yeah.
Pick 2 things or try to add, I think, is that guy named Jesse Itzler?
Yeah. Yeah. Jesse's awesome.
That's right. Yeah. One of his cool rules that I implemented was add a good new habit every month, or a week or a quarter, whatever metric that you want. Then I always try to work backwards. So I work backwards by annual goals. I don't really do 5-year goals or 3-year goals. I do 1-year goals, and I figure out, what does that mean that I have to do every month, every week, every day, every hour? Break it all the way down. And if you can get yourself disciplined enough to work backwards from a year like that, you know how to change. All you got to do to continue to grow is just change your annual goal, and then that will change everything before that. And as long as you can make yourself enough of a machine to follow that, you're going to get where you want to go. And just start with 1 or 2 things, and it's all momentum too. I'm a huge believer in energy, and momentum. Another thing I do is I look at, literally I used to do this percentage wise, people that I spend time with. I look at them and is there part of me? Is there something of them that I want to become that I can also reimburse and give back to them? If this isn't a good relationship, I don't really want to pursue it anymore.
Yeah.
And if it's like Legos, you move them around and your life will change.
I love that. That's so good. Do you ever feel like you are, when you're making those goals, those big goals for the year and then kind of backtracking, do you ever feel like it's not big enough or it's too big. And then as you backtrack, you're like, I got to adjust it.
I try to go slightly outside of what I know what to do.
Yeah.
Like I know how to increase something 10% or whatever, whatever metric you want. But if I can get good at like consistently slightly producing more than what I think I can, and you get good at that process, that will just go as far out as you can make it. So that's kind of how I think about it.
Are you more of a visionary, you would say, or not so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of writing, journaling, meditating.
Yeah. Cool, man. I love it. Did you have anybody in your family or circle of influence growing up that like to just stay organized and processes, kind of time management qualities?
Not really. Like I kind of got a lot of this thinking from like Jordan Peterson. Really listening to him a ton.
Yeah.
Just the way that he thinks about his life. And, when I was door dashing, I was listening to that guy pound in my head for 4 hours a day. So I like literally became him for like a year. And then, yeah.
I love that. And how'd you find him?
I can't like YouTube algorithms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man. So what does the goals look like for this year?
Yeah, this year is to buy 150 different homes. So whether that's a single family duplex, 10 unit, whatever. Sell. I kind of actually want to sell less as a realtor. Just for it's really just a pure time management perspective.
Sure.
Yeah, those are the business goals. I got a bunch of other personal stuff, but yeah.
So,
and I one other metric too that I think's cool as you're building up a business is make goals on making other people more money. So like my goal was like last year was I wanted to make like 3 people 100 grand.
Let's go.
And one person 250.
Yeah.
I hit that. So now I'm like, all right, let's make 3 people 250. Let's try to make somebody $1 million. How can I do it?
Yeah.
Whatever it is. And like you helping them and constantly asking what they want and giving it to them, you're going to get back what you want.
Oh yeah. I love that, man. That is so good. So now you're getting more into the, I wouldn't say giving phase, but like you're helping them to a certain degree hit their goals, and the fulfillment from that, I'm sure, is super rewarding. I want to hear about some of your personal goals too, but talk to me about when it comes down to, oh, I lost my train of thought. So what I was going to say is the real estate deals. Are you going, you mentioned like a 10 unit, but a lot of it, is it residential multifamily or single families, or do you have other bigger buildings and so forth?
I just market in the 1 to 4 unit space. So that's just what I find here and there. Something bigger pops up and I'll grab it, but I'm not really focused on them.
Okay, cool. And is that kind of still going to be your plan moving forward?
Yeah. I mean, if you drive around Cleveland, you're like, man, I renovated 100 houses and I can't even feel it because there's so many houses to renovate.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot.
So
cool. Talk to me about some personal goals.
Yeah, like religiously, I set out to read the New Testament. So I broke it down by the day.
Cool.
And reading that every single day.
Yeah, the Old Testament, it's a little daunting, man. It's I'm sure you've already been through that.
Yeah, but not like as intense as what I'm doing now. Like I'm reading it, like really thinking about it and just reflecting.
Yeah.
At a deeper level. Familiar wise, like I wanted to go to a certain number of my brother's basketball games. I wanted to take I'm a big Cavs fan. So I bought like season tickets, like cool seats. So I brought like basically every member of my family with me. Cool way to spend a couple hours with somebody and a few friends. Yeah. And just different things like that to try to combine, how do you naturally and not weirdly combine doing well with people you love? Yeah. So that it's not like you shoving things in their face or trying to change them or whatever. So, I want to find more things like that.
That's a hard thing to navigate through, because as you become very successful and so forth, sometimes, other people, it's hard for them to soak that up, or there's some type of, pushback or feelings behind it. Even though you feel like, hey, I'm the same person, like, I'm growing, I'm changing, but like, it's all for the better. I can still hang out with you and there's nothing but love, but it's, sometimes have you felt that resistance or push with certain friends or family in the past?
Definitely. Yeah. Because you can kind of become a mirror. It's kind of toxic. You become a mirror of what they wish they were. That's not me being narcissistic. It's just like sometimes people have goals for themselves. They don't necessarily align their habits with it. And then when they find somebody who is doing that, that will drive them nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. Especially if you come from the same area and like,
Yeah, if you're the
same
same
food.
year and someone's like this.
Yeah. It's like, man, yeah, it's tough. So you got Cav tickets. How many tickets did you end up getting?
I bought half the games and I like as a package, and I basically buying every single game.
That's so
Like I bought floor seats like right there. So I was like, let's do it. This is like
Yeah.
the only big fun thing I get to do, and
Heck yeah.
my buddies and family are having a blast.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's so
Yeah.
cool. That's one of our goals to actually jump into next year as well. So it's kind of funny.
Okay. What do you want to do?
We just want to get more season tickets to some of the games. We're in San Diego, so it makes it
Yep.
like we don't have a team. We would have to go up to LA.
True.
Yeah, so it's a little different, but yeah, I love that. Cool, man. So for anybody out there, this is like a lot of wisdom, a lot of just great stuff here, dude. I'm really excited for you. You only do things like vision wise and goals for a year out, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say, well, like, what does the future hold? But I know that you already mentioned you want to pull back on some of the selling on the agent side just for time management wise, and you're also trying to double on the flipping, correct?
Yep.
Cool, love it. Is there a certain number that you have in mind for holding properties? A goal?
I'm trying to get to like 400 to 450 units this year and just kind of see how that feels. I don't know. I mean, it's cool to say you want 1,000 doors, but like I know people that have 1,000 doors and it looks absolutely miserable.
Yeah, it doesn't look so pretty. Yeah.
No.
No, yeah. So is this something that you would want to bundle up in the long run and potentially sell, or just sit with it, feel it out, and see, hang on to it for whenever the time makes sense?
Yeah, do what investors do. Keep the good ones and sell the ones that are annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read last year the 10x is easier than 2x, and basically it's just the 80-20 rule. And I started really focusing on that, and that's why we're selling our portfolio over in Ohio and some other areas, because we want to just like laser beam focus on the things that are working, that we are excited for, and get rid of other things that, we're good in one season, but might have changed over time. So I definitely resonate with it. So anybody out there that doesn't know or that like wants to connect with you in the future, or I'm sure you're very tight on time and you want to, make sure you're not giving away too much, but is there a way that some of the listeners could reach out and connect with you in some way?
Yeah. DM me on Instagram.
Cool.
Or Bigger Pockets, Josh Janus on both. I hop on Zooms with random people all the time. Like if you have specific actionable questions, like if you have specific actionable questions in your business or whatever that you want to discuss. Now, like, how do you get rich in real estate? I'm not going to respond to that, but I want to pour energy into people that are doing things. I have a bunch of people that I mentor kind of like all across the country that have reached out. So
that's so cool. Yeah. And don't like DM asking, hey, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, that's the question.
I hate that. You just ask a question. Yeah, that's it. We're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so ridiculous. I love that though. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you, dude. It's you have nothing but wisdom at a young age, doing some huge, awesome things. You gave me some inspiration on how do I actually start focusing more on my time management, where I'm putting time, and how do I actually start outsourcing some of this. So kudos to you on everything that you've done. I'm super excited to watch your journey over the years to come. And yeah, guys, definitely, if you have any questions for Josh, reach out to him. He's got an open heart to serve others and help put the missing pieces together. So if you don't waste his time, obviously, but if you have anything clear, get to the point and he'll be able to pour into you. With that being said, if you guys want to, anything that we could do for you, Josh, anything that like the listeners or myself could do, you just gave an hour of your time, basically.
You got a deal in Ohio, send it. That'd be like the only thing.
Let's go.
100 unit, single family, I don't care.
Let's go. Cool. Well, I got 2 more deals left, so I'll shoot them your way after this.
All right, send them over.
But guys, if you want to, obviously go follow Josh, share some love with him. And then if you're not following me yet, do so on Instagram. It's Brandon Elliott Investments. Otherwise, Credit Counsel Elite. That's our business page on IG. If you're looking to get funding, I'm talking up to $500,000 with interest rates as low as 0%. We can show you how to get up to 90% approval odds. If you're looking to do that every 6 months, that's what we really specialize in at Credit Counsel Elite. So go to creditcounselelite.com. We'll show you how to get massive amounts of funding up to 500K with interest rates as low as 0% that you can start a business, grow, scale a business, and so forth. And there's a quick 5-minute video on there, explains more about what we do, answer any questions, and then you can book a call with either myself or somebody on the team. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast yet, you're going to want to do that right now. Leave that 5-star review after listening to a few episodes, and we will catch you on the next one. Until next time, guys, God bless. Josh, appreciate you, brother. Awesome.
Thanks, Brad.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, God bless.